Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 349. One short of tree fitty. Let's see what shows up here. Okay, and so I think we're gonna have to slide back into the way of seeing which champion we've drafted the least recently. I know it's not always the most creative way to come in and choose these champions, but at the kind of the advent of the channel, I did go out and ask if people would prefer to see me just kind of run for 7 wins every time, or if we want to just try and get a variety of decks in here, and it was overwhelmingly decided to just go for the variety. And I think that's more helpful for the viewers as well. If you want to see a trial of Zed elusives, then that material's out there. But a lot of the other less played and less tier 1 champions don't get quite as much coverage. And so that's what we're here for, to give those people some coverage. So let's pull these up here real quick. I don't remember which would have been the most recent out of these, but let's take a quick look on the site. Do a little searching. Garen was at 335. Aurelion Sol, like I don't think he's the most recent. 325. I know, like, went out of my way to specifically draft Aurelion Sol at some point. I don't remember if I actually posted the video or not, but it looks like he's going to be the one. Haven't actually built around Aurelion Sol and what looks to be ages, and so that's what we'll end up taking here. Let me see which one we're working with. It's the Dragon's Descent version, and we can get it pulled up on the site as well. So if you're not familiar with what we're looking at here, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition related content. We were just using the little search bar to quickly find the videos that I've posted, but we'll be over on the expedition helper now. And so we're just going to drop our way down to Aurelion Sol on Dragon's Descent. And then the way I typically look at Aurelion Sol is you just got to take the Targon pack second. And so if you're not familiar with how expeditions work, almost all of the card pools have a paired faction with it. So here with Aurelion Sol and Targon, he's paired with Shyvana and Demacia. And then in pack 2, we're guaranteed to see a Demacia champion. Not necessarily a Shyvana, but someone from Demacia. And so the reason being is a lot of the good dragons and a lot of the good dragon cards actually live over in Demacia. And the problems that we run into with this are all of the kind of expensive stuff, with the exception of Herald of Dragons, lives in Targon. And so if we're going to look at our dragons here specifically, there's White Flame Protector is kind of a cheapo at 4, but then you're just going to have like Eclipse Dragon, Envious Vox, Sky's Descend, Infinite Mind Splitter. These cards are all pretty expensive, and we're really trying to avoid this situation where we have this deck just completely full of like 4, 5, and 6 drops. So we really have to find some early game plays, and so having a Herald of Dragons is good, but this isn't enough early game, especially since that it's rare. So if you take a peek at some of the Shyvana pools, where are you at? We can go to the Dragon's Descent Shyvana. The big things we're going to be looking for here are Dragon Guard Lieutenant and Egghead Researcher. And so along with the Herald, those are going to be the units that we're specifically going to go out of our way to find. We don't care what dragons show up at the top end. They're all reasonably fine. We're going to generate a bunch of them with Dragon Guard Lieutenant, but having those early game plays is what's going to be specifically be quite important here. So if we scroll back up to the Aurelion Sol, he has no really good early game here. He doesn't have any removal spells. He doesn't have any combat tricks. It's just a big old pile of units that either are dragons or have invoke. So we're typically just chasing after the Dragon's version. If we're in Dragon's Descent, we typically chase after invokes if we're in Otherworldly Journeys. And so when we have a deck like this where we're already starting out with the Dragon's Clutch, I really want to be pushing towards dragons. I don't like pivoting over to invokes and just having completely dead cards in our deck. Okay, and so what's our choice here? I think we're just going to take the Quinn. Otherwise, you can pivot out of this. Picking a Malphite is actually a reasonable way to get into invokes. There are a handful of invokes that live in the Malphite pool. Still couldn't tell you what actually lives in this card pool because Riot still hasn't posted it, but I'm pretty sure Geomancy has the likes of Moondreamer, the Nightfall Invoke. I think it has Behold the Infinite and Star Shaping in it. And so there are a lot of ways that you can hit invokes out of Geomancy. Might actually be the way to come in and take this. I do intend for this for this trial to just draft multiple Aurelion Sols, because we haven't actually built around this in so long. But there is the option here. I think might be the way to go would be with Malphite, but we're fine to come over here and take this Quinn and and try to go the way of the dragon here. And so let me pull her pool up here real quick. We're not going to find too many synergies out of this pool. I just want to make sure that see if there's any dragons. There's going to be a Stalking Broodmother. I wanted to see if there's also some of these have like Challenger dragons in it. So there's just the one here. Sometimes these have the rally dragon thing. It doesn't look like it lives here either. I think these are cards that are going to come out of like Fist of the Dragon Shyvana. But then also wanted to see if there was early game plays. So we have the likes of Loyal Badger Bear, the Sharp Sight we're starting with, Blinding Assault that we're starting with. So we have some early game stuff that we can put on the board, even if it's not quite onto dragon theme. So welcome to the party, Quinn. You're not the ideal one, but you're going to have to be good enough here. And boy, what a real turd of a synergy pack. You either have a 4 Demacia that you never want, but you get a removal spell. You have this really delightful looking Sunblessed Vigor Lauren Bladekeeper, or the Spring Guardian with the Invoke card. And I think we're just stuck taking the Spring Guardian. These other cards are just all way too bad. Okay. Wow. This has been like I don't want to say it's been like the most ridiculous start we've ever had, but it is getting pretty close. I think we're just going to go for the raw power and take Cythria. Otherwise, these cards are just too bad. Okay, so here we go. We've made our way to synergy pick number 5, and we see our first dragon of the trial. How about that? That's right what I would expect being in a dragon-centric deck, starting out with Aurelion Sol. So I think that's who we need to take. We need to signal to the game that we're trying to draft dragons. And so we'll go ahead and pick it up. Of course, it doesn't do anything to help. We have the other dragon-centric set showing up in the wild pick, but it's not really what we're trying to do. It is a removal spell in the Concerted Strike. I really don't like riposts in these style of decks. If things are going normally, if things are going right, you tend to not play a whole bunch on turns like 1 and 2, and then from like turn 3 or turn 4 forward, you're just spending all of your mana on a dragon. And so it gets to these spots to where if you want to play riposte, you can't play another card. And so I usually look for the likes of Radiant Strikes and not riposts, but with the way this draft's gone, we just haven't had a whole lot of choice. Okay, finally something decent. The researcher with the Concerted Strike are going to have to do it for us here. It's absolutely none of the 2-drop units. This is brutal. I guess I'm sorry. We have one. We have one Egghead Researcher. I have to take it all back. And so this one is pretty problematic. I'm going to take the Shield Bearer Tyari just as the means to have something to do. We have 2 Concerted Strikes, which is good. I would like to pick up the Screeching Dragon Cavalier, but maybe we just have to take these. We already have a ton of 5-drops in our deck, though. I guess a bunch of them are spells, but I think we really just need the Shield Bearer as the means to make sure that we don't die. These packs have been ridiculous. I'm just going to take the second Zenith Blade here. I don't like having all these Dragon's Clutches, but having multiple the Zenith Blade is ultimately super important, and so I'm happy to pick that up. Okay, well, I guess we have the opportunity to get our third one now, but here I'm just going to take the removal spell along with the Screeching Dragon. We got to get this unit count fixed a bit as well. We just do not have enough units. Everything in this trial has been pretty weird. I think we're just stuck taking the Fleet Feather Tracker with the riposte. All right. We gotta get ourselves out of this somehow. Looks like we're gonna take the Stellacorn with the removal spell. All of these other cards here off theme with the elites are horrible in the suit up pack. Okay, well I guess we can keep things going on with the Screeching Dragon. We don't have a whole lot of choices amongst these other cards. These Dragon's Descent packs have been completely abysmal this trial. It's so weird. Okay, all right. So, just what I thought we could use. I thought, hey, what do we need? We need a card like Divergent Paths in our deck with no landmarks. Like that seems pretty useful. No, I think we just have to take the curve fillers in the Lookout and the Redeemer. And okay, this is at least a reasonable trade. Getting to trade out the 4 Demacia for a White Flame Protector. Whew, man, I don't want to salt on that draft too hard, but that was completely ridiculous. Just a complete and utter low roll by all means. But, hopefully if we take a peek here, there's going to be some kind of common unit that we haven't leveled up yet. We'll get to turn that thing premium, and that's really going to help hard carry us through this trial. And I think it's going to have to be this Resplendent Stellacorn. I know that you're in our deck, and so I feel pretty good getting this added in. I was waiting for the day that we were going to get to turn Resplendent Stellacorn Premium, and then we kind of got the Dragon Guard Lieutenant up here just laughing at us, because who would who would know what that feels like to have it put in your deck? But yeah, this is the thing that's happened here. If you're kind of like new, we've picked up a lot of new subscribers here in the past week or so, and so if you're new here, welcome. But if you're not familiar with the history of Runeterra, especially with the release of Call of the Mountain, the like immediately with the start of, oh man, maybe we need to hang on to riposte here. We're on the odd attacks though. That's not going to flow right. I mean, I guess we could get like a riposte blinding assault on 2, but that doesn't seem very good. Let's just hang on to R3 and look for another reasonable early game play. But no, like right at the beginning of Call of the Mountain, the Leona card pool was ridiculously good, and then the Aurelion Sol cards were too strong as well. And so, as far as the game goes, the way that the balancing tends to work in Expedition is the cards themselves are balanced for Constructed. They'll occasionally balance something for Expedition, but for the most part, they're all balanced towards Constructed, and then things get fixed in Expedition by diluting the card pools with terrible cards. And so, I'm going to go ahead and sketch her. We have the combo with the Spring Guardian. We can probably wait a turn. But the thing with Expedition was, or I'm sorry, with the Leona pool was that it was too dense in the Sunbursts, and then the Aurelion Sol pool was too dense in the Dragons. So they added a whole bunch of turds to the Aurelion Sol pools so that they wouldn't be as strong, and that's what you end up with. Why this draft looked so completely weird, so completely bad, was just the quality of cards was just way too low. And with this, I think we probably just want to continue to be aggressive, but I'm kind of interested in just taking this Moon Silver. Be dropping a Cithria next turn. It's probably good enough to just say, like, play the Messenger and play Screeching Dragon next turn. But it's like, I don't really want to get away from being able to play Concerted Strikes. He's going to have to just, like, tap out for a unit, right? He's got to have a 5-drop by this point, or a unit he can play by turn 5 of the game. So if we add Tayari, we can assume that he's going to tap out and then do 5 damage to his unit. Okay. Something like that should work. And if he wants to play a combat trick to take down one of our units in combat now, then by all means, go for it. Sure. Got him. After all that complaining, that's all you got to do. Just sit around and complain about the draft, and you'll be able to ace your opponents handily. All right. Let's see. Okay, we're picking up the Aurelion Sol. There is a Shyvana down here, but I want to get at least 2 Aurelion Sols into this deck so that we can say we drafted Aurelion Sol. And so, is this the way? Is this where we want to put our foot down and take it? Are we taking this one with the Molten Breath Eclipse Dragon, or do we want to wait and take one at the 3rd win mark? I think we probably need to just take this Shyvana one so that we can have the 2 and the 4-drop. I guess the 2 4-drops to help with our early game. Okay. Yeah, with the way I post the videos and what I consider to be the build around champion, that's the thing that we put the most copies of the champion of in our deck, and so By adding 2 copies of Aurelion Sol, this officially becomes an Aurelion Sol draft. But we can't do it just here. We have to wait until we get that second champion in our deck. I guess the second copy of him. Do the old blood on the ice thing. Most certainly he's going to have a Noxcria Arena in here. Probably run into a pretty heavy Yeti's deck. Not super interested in trying to play the Shield Bearer here. Even if he played a unit, I wouldn't really want to play it. I kind of want to get a good block on a Yeti out of the sky. Or at least like a shutdown on an Avrosian Trapper or something. No Tall Tales from old Smackle. Uh-oh. Nobody has the cards today. This is no Rush 15 day. Okay. So I mean, do we want to go ahead and get the combat trick out? So if we want to say like riposte next turn, then we can try and take down Ash. I think this is okay. He's gonna like Brittle Steel so many percents of the time, but I want to try and take her down next turn. See, Screeching Dragon's the way we want to go about it, though. I want to do it with this Dragon Guard Lieutenant so that we can still riposte. This should have the potential to be good. This is the frostbites are all bursts. Really? Still take down the Ash, but I can't say I was expecting to see a Winter's Breath show up. Oh my god, she flips? Oh no. Is that really all we got the one off of the attack? That makes sense. Guess we won't be doing that this turn. We should be kinda safe from the Crystal Arrow. He's not gonna have enough stats on board to come in and kill us with it. Thinking of adding the Screeching Dragon, but then we have access to this Dragon's Clutch here if we want. One I'm kind of hoping to bring to the party. So I think we probably just take 5 from the Yeti. We see if he plays a Crystal Arrow now. I would assume he's going to play the Crystal Arrow now, but we can still shut down a lot of this. Okay, well, I'll take the bait. Okay. Why do they put that animation on top of this thing? Oh my god, Riot loves some confusion around what the fucking elite can actually do, or what the fucking elusive actually looks like. Jeez. We get popped by another Winter's Breath. That was quite unexpected. Okay. Good hits with the Sketcher. I don't think so. I think we still want to discard the Spring Gifts here, but just want to hit like a Crescent Strike or something.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
I don't think we need the Messenger here. We're going to draw a couple dragons off this Dragon's Clutch. So we can probably live without just playing a 2/2 that draws a card. This riposte look. I assume he's probably going to have another Frostbite, but I think it's pretty okay. And if we lose Quinn, that's also fine. She's not really doing anything this game. Yeah, we don't want to give our dragons bonus attack. Okay. There's going to be something. He's going to have a Harsh Winds or something, but it's not a huge deal. Okay. Alert the village! None of those were Aurelion Sol. I just did the mathematics on that one real quickly. Turns out none of those were Aurelion Sol. I don't think we need to bank up mana here anymore. Let's just play Redeemer. Okay. Much Blinding Assault. Do we actually want to play this as a means to try and take down... I think I like it. As a means to try and take down his Ash. We can get another hook on her in our next attack. Or if he plays a Brittle Steel or something, that's completely fine as well. I think it. This seems strong. He does have a mountain of cards in his hand, and we can't pick up an Aurelion Sol to save to save our day, but this is okay. Worst thing would be if he has like a Troll Chant, but I can't remember if Troll Chant lives on Blood on the Ice. A Battle Fury? Oh, snap. There's a bro after my heart. I don't know how good it's going to be here, but do love me a Battle Fury. Okay. So not anything big in terms of getting an increase in card advantage, but our card quality out of that was huge. Now next turn we have this Blinding Assault riposte into a Quinn attack afterwards. Okay. We have a riposte here because we're just going to lose our bird into the... Nah, we probably want to get the second attack out of our bird. And I guess the question number 2 is, can we ever just lethal? Like at this stage of the game, he may not actually have units in his hand. If he doesn't have a unit, he's going to have like a spell, though. Right? The idea being, if we say Crescent Strike both of his units, oh, I think that's a different story now. So then say like he plays something, we get this riposte attack onto his new Yeti. Yeah, this seems good. I dig it. Got all the manas and everything one could need.
Still heart, steady aim. Where valor goes, victory follows. Valor.
That's looking juicy, am I right? I think I'm right.
Soldiers to me. Don't hold back. It's our time to shine, Valor.
Boom. Hashtag LCS big plays. Look at that. Oh, it was big time, and that was some cool stuff. I wasn't expecting much out of Quinn this match, but
Back out there.
them scouts with their riposts, look out. Alright, so what can we do here? Happy enough to get rid of the Vanguard Lookout for Screeching Dragon. Our curve is a bit of a hot mess, but you know, there's not a lot we can do about that. So let's hope the card quality can carry us and we just don't get overrun in the early game. Okay. At least got to win one more so that we can get our second Aurelion Sol. Have this be an official Aurelion Sol draft. That's the way it works. I mean, yo, Swain and Twisted Fate. Okay, don't see too much Swain these days. Let's see what we can do. This is more along the lines of, of what worries me with this deck. We'll hang on to the Tyari. It should actually be reasonably strong against Swain. Swain has a lot of like 2-3 units that he does self-damage to, and you tend to be able to like pick them off with the Tyari. We'll see. We just need these things to stall out till we can get our big boy dragons online. But I think I do want to start off with the Blinding Assault, and then we have options next turn as to whether or not we just want to open with the Blinding Assault, if we want to try and get a Tyari hook in to protect our unit onto, say, a Shell Shocker. We don't want to just trade the Valor away and try to draw a card off Vanguard Redeemer. We've got lots of choices that we can do, but I think it all starts with, like, do we want to be able to open attack next turn? We have the dragon if we want to try and pull this one off. That doesn't seem that great. I think we just want to draw the card. We can continue on with our curve next turn to get the 2/2 drops on the board. Curve has worked out. It's a little a bit different than how I expected the curve to go, but it's something. This shouldn't be too dangerous. I was gonna say I think he'll probably just take the trade. Bilgewater doesn't have combat tricks, and then Noxus would need a 3-mana combat trick to survive that attack, and so that can be dangerous. You don't want him just like coming back at you. But right, if he plays the combat trick, then has the open attack and a potential plunder deck, that kind of sucks. But this is okay. And then this is odd. Like, we could have played the single combat here and just kind of considered like him not drawing the card is the same as us gaining a card. But I think I just want to go into this turn and try and take it down with Screeching Dragon. Kind of the same deal. It should be tough for him to... He can win this combat, getting himself 2 for 1, but he shouldn't be able to not die in the combat. Wow. Dropping that pilfered goods, huh? Nothing. Oof. Oof. All right.
These springs are for healing, not swimming.
It's good to me. We drew our Spring Guardian. Dude, what is up with all the elusives? People don't approve of this stuff. So I don't feel like this is too greedy. I don't want to just trade off our Screeching Dragon just yet. I feel like we can manage this board a little bit better than trading this for an elusive. Maybe not.
Out of the springs. The stars.
But still looking fine. Let's see what he follows up with. We can continue to improve our board here. I probably want to get Tayari down, and I think we can probably just pick and choose how we want these combats to go. Okay. This dude just must have like a really weird hand. Between like the open pilfered goods and having just this weird make it rain. I can't place what he's, unless he just has one of these hands where you just have like a ton of expensive units in it, but then he's not even adding onto this board. Maybe he wants to follow up with something and keep it out of combat. But all right, that's your plan. I'm okay with this. Sure. He was trying to hit on. I don't know. That's a stretch. Another open pilfered goods. I'm gonna play Cithria here. If we want to get both Quinn and White Flame Protector down next turn, we have to play the Cithria now. Okay. Decisions were made. I think do we want to keep the scout? We can switch over to the different plan of just going double dragons. Maybe we just go double dragons now, especially since I don't think we want to give them the +1/+1, but we can. So much pilfered goods. That's what's up with this guy's hand, is he just has like 100 pilfered goods in it. All right, but this attack is huge. He's not gonna have much success with this. Can't even block with his. Well, he can block Cithria with one of these small ones, but okay. So he's tapped out after that. All right, this will lethal him. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get our second Aurelion Sol. We did it. Achievement unlocked, 2 Aurelion Sols. This is gonna be a bad one too. I can already tell. That's just the way life goes. What we got? Herald of Dragons or something with it. All right. Well, it's got a removal spell. So we can it is granted better than this Shyvana. I don't want like 3 Dragon's Clutches. I don't want On Guard whatsoever. I'd be okay with Shyvana herself, but all right, it's official. It's an Aurelion Sol deck. Right, next one. These 2 Aurelion Sols. Maybe we'll even play them before the trial's over. It's just so tough without actually having like Herald of Dragons or, to a lesser degree, Eclipse Dragons. But gosh darn it, we'll try. Okay, so Fiora and Garen with a bit of Freylord in it. Don't really want to be like too aggressive here. I'd rather try and shut down some of his Fiora attacks with Riposte and not give him value attacks. But I guess now that she has two health, dropping something like Tayari isn't as scary. Okay, so this is even okay-ish if we don't draw a dragon for the Behold. I think just making the Lieutenant a 3/4 on our attack next turn is okay, assuming the Tayari won't be forced to trade with anything. Let's see. Didn't hit it. Like, he just never plays Fiora here, right?
Always 2 steps ahead.
Apparently, apparently never is the incorrect assessment of time here. Yeah, that makes sense. She can't get the hook onto Tayari. No, this feels fine. We've got this riposte should we need to stop a Fiora combat. Uh-oh, buddy. this is this is not going to be appealing for you. Do we want to get down? I kind of like getting the bird down, but then we just don't have any plays afterwards. Alright, I think we can just Stellacorn and pass. Like, letting him get one attack in isn't that big of a deal, or like one tick up on Fiora, but I do still like this idea of keeping things a little bit safer and not attacking. We'll see. He's like almost certainly got a riposte or another Fiora or a barrier in his hand, and I don't want him to get into a combat and be able to use that. This is fine. Ed, who is the Fiora deck here today? This should be okay. This really limits to where, like, if we say his card in hand is riposte, it really limits his options as far as what he's able to take down here. That's it? Okay. Alright. Works for me. Let's just bank up. We got a lot of spells going on here. Beautiful. So I don't really want to get this Fiora into combat, but I'm happy enough to come down here and just like try and pick off some of his smaller units. You ever care? Probably care. That was lucky. He did that in the wrong order. Okay, so he can't riposte this attack, so I'm feeling good about attacking with the Stellacorn here. He can Prismatic Barrier out of it, but he can't riposte out of it. Gotta get something going, right?
In the War Mother's name.
Ooh. Is this your game, Aurelion Sol? Feeling like it could be. We should be able to star shaping out of this. So we'll put the bonus onto Screeching Dragon here, and then just plan on trying to star shaping. Going for Tayari. Okay.
Our ancestors are watching.
Okay. Lethal him here. I don't think we have a lethal. Okay. Wish you could see how much toughness this thing actually had. This might have been a bit dangerous. I don't think we can
Is this supposed to be a challenge?
get around too much with this. Okay, do want to see him continue to spend all these tricks if we want to get this single combat down. He only has one card, so I think we should be reasonably safe. Let's go for this one. Or our smallest unit that we want to lose. Play this onto Fiora. We should probably protect our dragons. We have Aurelion Sol in our hand already, so drawing more dragons isn't that big of a deal. Fiora will flip here, but then we'll still kill her in combat. So get ready to watch some animations. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to play Aurelion Sol next turn, so we won't have the mana to play that one. It's tough. Like, if our Aurelion Sol's going to flip, then we really want Living Legends, but it's going to be a few turns before he can flip, and so I'll take the Supernova so that we can potentially win on our next attack by removing 2 of his units. Okay.
Hello, Runeterra. Let's rock.
Knew we were going to play. Okay, we'll risk it. Oh, he had barrier. Okay, that makes sense. I forgot all about that.
Now they'll pay attention. Aren't you handsome? To the stars.
Right. Well, if he, this might be a little dangerous. Like, if he had, I think if he had a trick, he would have played it last turn. He can still like riposte down our Aurelion Sol, but yeah, this is still looking pretty safe. Probably should have just attacked with like not Aurelion Sol. Got that great Beyond hit and. Oh no, you just get excited. You know, you got this Aurelion Sol down. What are you gonna do? Nothing to do but get excited.
I do love
This game's dunzos. Got him. At least got to see that animation, you know?
been wonderful, as have I.
You are wonderful, Aurelion Sol. What do we got here? Good to trade out the Stellacorn. These Brightsteel Protectors are decent in our deck. We have 1 Fleet Feather, 1 Lieutenant. We have a couple Quinn Birds, so we have some targets that we can use on this. Stellacorn's just a little bit expensive here. Our curve's a bit of a hot mess at the top end, so reasonable pickup. Okay. Let's see what we're going to get into here. Beef fried rice. Do you put bees in your rice? I don't think that's the way you're supposed to do it, my man. I don't think that's it. Alright. So I'm assuming this is Sea Monsters. Maybe he started like Tom Kench Maokai and then backdoored into the Nautilus or something. Let's see. Let's see how else those champions would come together. Let's play Tayari, so if he wants to get to blocking next turn, we can at least trade out this Thorny Toad. Here. Good to get in and get some damages here. Okay. Not like real amped about him getting the tosses off of these since he has this Nautilus style deck, but we don't have a lot of choice here in the matter. Alright, let's bank this mana up. We want to try and single combat down this Maokai. So let's see how we want to go about it. We can't Quinn riposte, so let's just add the Protector now. This will be our designated single combateer. Could also, this does reek of a riposte, and so maybe that will be a bit of a safety net for us as well. But I'm more than happy to go ahead and trade off Tayari. He's done more than anyone's ever asked of him, and giving and giving +4 stats this game. His blocks are too good. I forgot about the Maokai aspect of this, giving him the additional blocker. Have a Grasp of the Undying. $21. I always have to wonder when we run ourselves into situations like this. He's only playing the one Maokai, so he can't, recycle him back into his deck. We probably can't try to go for the Toscolo with him playing Nautilus and just being able to put units back into his deck. Then I feel like this was probably our mistake of the game, was not playing single combat in the middle of combat so that when we did this, our dragon had 4 health. I really feel like this might just get blown up by a Grasp of the Undying, which is pretty horrific. Okay. Didn't have the punish. We have a ton of cards. We can stall this out forever. Right between being able to draw a bunch of dragons off these dragons clutches. But let's see, do we want to riposte out of this? Kinda like that. Attacks? Tell you what, I'll give you this one. See what he does. If he sends it back to us, that's okay. Okay, so we can get all that sweet protection, and then we can spring gifts to heal this guy back up to, I don't know, 7/7 or whatever he's supposed to be.
This will help.
It's his deep status here. He's at 17, so he'll be deep in 2 turns if he doesn't do anything. I would assume, though, that if he plays a sea monster here, that sea monster can go deep. So need to be a little careful, but we'll see what makes its way on board. It's not what I expected, but sure. Alright, say what up to the squad. Okay. Alright. I guess he had enough. Cool. It's like I was trying to see what that Withering Whale actually did. That just killed Tyari. That was okay. All right, so let's see if we can get some upgrades here. Do we want to pick up any more expensive dragons? I don't think we do. We have like the 2 Aurelion Souls and 4 Screechings, which is probably enough. I think I want to hang on to our early game play in the Shield Bear. I think I want to hang on to single combat as well. I think we want to keep all of these. All right, the trade has been skipped. Get to rolling in the pre-final battle here. Okay, so whenever I see that That's Shadow Isles only with at least 2 Nocturnes. I assume that we're just going to be running into Mist Wraiths, and so ideally we'll have something to throw in front of them in the early game. And then if not Mist Wraiths, then probably just Fearsomes. One way or another, I would say that we're going to be running into that kind of theme. So I don't really want to just lead out with the Shield Bearer. So I'm planning on just playing the Blinding Assault and passing. And then if he wants to add a Mist Wraith, then great, we can hook it down. And if he wants to pass, we'll just keep passing. So the Shield Bearer, great at shutting down Mist Wraiths, shutting down Fearsomes. I think this is probably a reasonable enough turn to just stop him. We're getting reasonably big on board. This will like shut down his attack here, then we can try and get Shyvana rolling. So let's actually do this. Let's start with the Blinding Assault attack. See if he spends mana before we add Shyvana. Scratch that. See if he spends mana before we play premium Shyvana. Dude, that's not cool. Not cool whatsoever. Is that worth a block? And we can get like a 3/4 bird between like Shyvana and Cythria's next turn. And what's he realistically going to follow up with? Another 3/3? I can't imagine he's going to have too much to really worry about. Okay. We want to bird this down. The thing that you run into with these is they have to have something on the board to sacrifice, and so hopefully we'll get him in this weird spot to where he's like either holding on to like a Nocturne and a Blighted Caretaker and a Spirit Leech, and he just can't get his stuff on the board because he doesn't have any sacrificable units. It's going to be an Unspeakable Horror or a Glimpse Beyond. Glimpse Beyond would be a-okay with me. During Whale. Don't really like that. But, oh, noes. More stuff? Ugh, gross. Damn. So you can't just throw like Concerted Strike into the mix as well. It's too much. So I think we're gonna try to need to get a Zenith Blade plan starting to go, and maybe we can crush through that way. Brutal. Okay. But see, I'm pretty sure his hand is clogged up with exactly what I was talking about. You know, he wants to have all this handful of Mask Mothers and Spirit Leeches and Glimpse Beyonds, and he just doesn't have anything to sacrifice off. And so it gets really awkward to play like a Nocturne, and then you just have to like sacrifice your Nocturne if you want him to go down. This is fine. Show them what you're made of, Cythria. You're about to be made of a concerted strike. Okay. Gotta get this thing out of here. But I think this is okay. As long as you don't get blown up by like a Rasa. Do double Zenith Blade next turn. 4, 7, 11, 12, 13 of stats. So we're not going to be lethal, but we got big damages coming through. Of course.
We wear red to honor the fallen.
Okay. Do what we can do. Aurelion Sol. I was just thinking, how sweet would it be to just draw Aurelion Sol? That's the way to get him. Probably need the removal spell.
Heavens diminish without my attention.
So I think if he passes, I'm just going to pass it back. But I don't think we ever lose this game if we have our Aurelion Sol on the board just generating spells. But, I mean, realistically, though, we should probably just Zenith Blade our Aurelion Sol and get him in. So that we can lethal on our next attack. Or if we draw the Dragon Rally, the Dragon Guard Lookout, we could win on next turn. Okay. I've convinced myself. I'm going to take this down. He still has the opportunities to get some lethal damage in here. So we need to be a little bit careful. I think the way that he would be getting the most damage in is through this Overwhelm. So I want to take him down while we have the opportunity. Doesn't look to have an open kill on us, but feel a lot better if we can get this Supernova off.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
All right, Duder, it has been presented. This is what we can do. Are we dead? You got enough of these? Yep, we're dead. Oh, we made the play that we could make. Too bad. So close, Aurelion Sol. You almost did it. So close.
Certainly isn't my fault.
Alright, well, on to the next one. What can we do here? Could see an argument for Bannerman, but we're not going to take that. I'm going to skip over all of these. I don't want Spiral Stairs. I'd rather have Sharp Sight than Barrier, and then the Bannerman. It's kind of tough to pull off. I do like being able to just like discard a random expensive dragon to the Sketcher. Like it seems like every time we've had the Sketcher here, we've been fortunate enough to also have what do you call it? The 3-cost dude, the Spring Guardian card in our hand. But I think it's okay to let this go. Okay. That entry to the final battle. Let's see if we can do it. Counting on you, Aurelion Sol. Here we go. Opponent found. Magic about to happen. Malphite and Braum. Not sure what combos would come of these two. Nothing's immediately coming to mind. So, I think I want to just hang on to the Shield Bearer. There's not a whole lot that these Blinding Assaults can really pick on. If opponent has, like, I don't know, some of the 0 attack units or something, that seems like a bit of a stretch. So, get him in. Sunburst's a little weak against Malphite, not able to take him down on its own. We'll make the best of it. What up, Chip? This dude really likes Malphite. Got the Malphite card back, got that premium Malphite going on here, got the premium Chip. It's good to know what you're about in life. And did we disconnect or something? Uh-oh. Come on, game. Typically returns. Okay, it's here. But I paused the video just to make sure I had the old internet up. Turns out we do. All right, crisis averted. I'm just gonna slam into old Chip here. Just go ahead and spend off as much mana as we can. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Blinding Assault. It's just like if you know, we don't hit what we need to next turn, then we're just gonna be out of mana, or we're gonna have to be like making plays without mana. And so I think this is fine to just go ahead and throw down, just in the event that we need to like Concerted Strike or Sunburst something. Okay. Alright, well, we gotta spend that mana Zenith Blade. It's something to do. Yeah, Chip Part 2. Alright, we can't answer that one. But we can Dragon it down next turn, and I'm considering we have 2 Zenith Blades left in our deck, right? We got 3 in total. Am I right or wrong on that? Oh, that's the last one. Okay, so we're free to like Screeching Dragon Zenith Blade next turn if we want. Oh, the chips. Okay, we'll deal with this as much as we can. Get a block here. We'll have a good open attack onto his Priestess next turn, and then we can start in on the Screeching Dragon hooking things. Not going to get to make a Zenith Blade play, but I think that's okay. Seems strong. Opponent does not have a board. That's as good as you can hope for. Uh-oh. We're gonna get hit by Malphite? Okay. Forgot he was playing Freylord cards. This could be bad. No Brittle Steel, please. Okay. So we still get the kill, but we lose our unit. That's completely fine, I guess. Let's see. Let's get another dragon going. Now fight, please. Alright, so it should be a good Molten Breath next turn. At least as long as we can keep chipping away at this dude's board. I think we'll be okay. We should be able to invoke better than he does, having Aurelion Sol. Shyvana makes an appearance. Ready to do some molten striking. Okay. Okay. This isn't a big deal. We'll just take 5 from that thing. You want to add Tyari though? Because we probably want to have the three mana next turn so we can both Molten Breath and Sunburst. Okay. I'm convinced. What you got? You ain't got anything for 1 mana, my man. You ain't got nothing. We probably just take this damage, right? That's... I think that's fine. Still don't want to play Tyari. Open with the Sunburst. Okay. We got all kinds of options now between the Concerted Strike and the Molten Breath. Good stuff. Do we even play them, though? I don't really want to. I think I just want to get these in. And then maybe we can get the 2-for-1 on his follow-up with the Molten Breath. Uh-oh. Yeah, Elixir's fine. As long as we aren't losing our Shyvana, that's not a big deal. A little scary. Maybe we should have just Concerted Struck his Silver Sister. I could see us losing the game to an elusive. Let's see. It's tough for him to give a bonus attack, though. Plays the Comet. So, okay. So he's tapped out. So do we want to just go ahead and add Aurelion Sol now? Or are we not willing to just take a 6 damage? Because it's tough for us to deal with this Traveler without Aurelion Sol. I think we can just take the damage. Supernova. Always feel good about Supernovas. There is the potential, we won't have the mana to play like the Great Beyond and removal spells, but I do feel a little bit better if we pick up the elusives. But we should be able to just kill the elusives, right? We'll have a Celestial in our hand next turn. But yeah, we gotta take this damage, that sucks. But I think we're safe. We want to flip him, we have to get 9 more power on the board, which, I mean, we can technically do. 5, 6, 7, 8. We'd have 2 mana left over. Close. Just our units are so weak if we're just kind of throwing them into combat. Alright, well, I think we need something to go right. So let's at least start off with Aurelion Sol. And then we'll see if we need to, you know, if he picked up a second elusive that we have to deal with. We could maybe get it this way. Like to see how he spends his mana before we get too far invested here. I do believe he still has 1 Invoke left. I haven't tracked that completely well. manageable. But he can't play a big invoke now. So let's just go ahead and do this. Okay, there's everything. It is all the cards are on the table. This seems good.
My, how they stare.
I think it's good. If we want to flip Aurelion Sol, we need 6 now. It's a little bit easier to do. Ooh, you're 3 away from flipping. That's kind of scary.
My shield is yours.
Has a well, if he has to have a 3 mana landmark to get the flip, and then he doesn't have the 3 mana plus 2 mana to do anything with Malphite. Okay. Let's just pop him, right? We have a friggin' Aurelion Sol down here. He can come in for enough damage. Right? Aurelion Sol hits for 10. Okay, alright. Feeling better now. I think we've done it. I think we've managed our way into the final battle here.
I'm the forger of stars.
Oof, okay, that was a close one.
I do love an audience.
Oof, got him. Get ourselves up in that final battle. Let's see what kind of trades are going to show up here. Maybe we can work on our curve a little bit. That's what we've been talking about the entire time. So let's see. The Priestess for the Redeemer. It's like I really like invokes, but I kind of think I don't want to do this. It's just so much mana. Like our deck doesn't have any trouble spending or having enough mana to spend because we have all these expensive dragons. I think I want to keep the Redeemer just to have a meaty unit to play in the early game. I could see an argument for trading out the Blinding Assault for the Defender just as a better blocker, but I think I want to hang on to our interactivity there. These don't want Rumble, not trading Shield Bearer. Probably need to hang on to single combat. Our removal's a bit limited. Don't want a different Rummel. This one's kind of close. I don't think we need a Rika. We have a density enough of dragons to not need to pick up that removal spell. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, man, it is the full Aurelion Sol trial, huh? To go up to a third one? I don't think we can do that. I mean, we could, but let's peep our other choices here real quick. Don't want to trade out Sharp Sight, although the Mountain Goat is a premier 2-drop. I think we need to hang on to this cheap combat trick. It's our only one. We don't have the space for Grand Plaza. Let's do it, all right? Aurelion Sol it is. 3 copies. If you're going to do it, you got to do it, right? And here, we'll skip this. I don't want a second lookout. I want to hang on to our 2 Zenith Blades, never trading Sunburst. And the last one. Don't think we want to make any of these either. The Bright Steel Protector is a real choice. I think actually maybe we should pick this one up. It sucks to trade out a dragon for it, but just so good with these early game challengers, and that's really just the only place we're hurting's in the early game. And so it sucks to trade out a dragon, but I think that's overall a good pickup. All right. Final battle is upon us. Let's take a moment to hydrate. We'll be there. You can do it at home too. Get a little hydration in. All right, we're ready. Gotta get this beard water off my face and then we're good to go. Maybe. Gotta find an opponent though. Have to see if we face the old Poro bot. Doubt it. think it's going to happen. I'm feeling pretty good about the opponent rolling in, doing battle with FTP bust before the timer expires. Oh, gross. Gangplank likes to eat his oranges after he's first dipped them in the ocean. Sweet and salty, he calls them. Nasty. Even if like, I mean, realistically, I don't guess ocean water's that dirty. Like on the whole, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're hanging out on the beach, then that water's probably like full of like pee and like garbage and stuff. But if you're out, like let's say like a mile out, then that water's probably normal. You could probably drink it if it wasn't salt water. But these out here dipping his oranges in that shit. Ugh, that's nasty. Ugh, what are you gonna do? You can try it at home. Just go make yourself a cup of salt water and start dipping your oranges in it. You be sure to let me know how that plays out for you. But all right, playing against the old Shadows and Dust. This is typically when you see this, it's a sparring student style deck. So ideally, we'd be able to have a hand that can hook a Green Glade duo, because that's typically what this is going to come down to. Is do we have the means to answer a Green Glade duo or not? We can just sit around and block sparring students all day. But as far as losing the game, that tends to be either Zed coming down on 3 and not being able to deal with it, or having a couple of unchecked Green Glade duos. And it's in general, it's just really tough for this deck to actually deal with. So um, I would have to imagine that if he plays like a turn 3 Zed and opens with it on 4, or plays a Zed on 4, then we probably lost. But if we can survive that, then we should probably be okay. Could be completely wrong in what this guy's running, but this Zed Hecarim combo that you usually see is typically the sparring student style deck. But he could be more along the lines of getting stuck in the ephemeral side of things, because I'm curious with this. Oh, he doesn't attack. I'm curious with this if it played out to where he started with a Hecarim Maokai and then kind of backdoored into Zed, because he didn't start with Zed or he would have 3 copies, right? This was kind of interesting. I wasn't sure if we should Zenith Blade our Dragon Guard Lieutenant to try and build a unit strong enough to deal with Zed, but it doesn't seem like that's a real issue here. Gotta be scary for opponent when we're starting to get ahead on board.
What do you call that technique? Steel is yours.
Okay. There's an argument to go ahead and just take down the sparring student, but that argument is basically like, what if opponent plays a Haunted Relic? And then he's kind of annoying to deal with, but if he plays Haunted Relic, I would rather take his +1/+1 thing off the board. Like, we can take this 4 damage hit from the sparring student, get blocks across all of these, and then still be reasonably okay going into our next turn. Ew. That got dirty quick. We have to protect our lieutenant now. So he's gonna get a lieutenant hook. Well, he shouldn't be hooking lieutenant with the sparring student, but we're gonna have to take him down next turn. Okay. Ooh, it's good to note that was an ephemeral Blighted Caretaker, so he's got to have another copy in his hand. Okay, I think we're fine here.
I have the scars to prove it.
Can be like a crumble. Like, okay. Trying to think of what slow spell would be coming down here. Onslaught of Shadows is fine. I don't care about this. Alright, so sure. As we know, he has 1 Blighted Caretaker in his hand. Hecarim would be slightly scary in that he can come down and get a flipped attack in, and we can't answer it, but as long as this game rolls out a few more turns, we should be okay.
I've got your back.
I think this will probably just convince him to not attack, but I wanted to get a unit on board just in case. This is fine. Adding the Empyrean, because this is a reasonably bad spot for him to add units to the board. Not a whole lot of big ones that they have, and a lot of their top end is things like a Neverglade Collector that we should just have answers to. And if he makes some kind of play with a Black Spear here, that's okay as well. So, threatening the lethal with the Empyrean now. Hopefully that's all we need. This should get us a Screeching. Good deal. I think we're okay. Could add like a Haunted Relic or something to gain 3 health, but I don't think he's gonna be able to stop us next turn. Dawn and Dusk. Okay. Attacked in the right order. Don't put your ephemeral ones on the right. Okay, we gotta block a bit. Can't just be taking this damage. And I'm gonna play units. I want to end the game this turn if we can. So let's start with Tayari. This way we can Molten Breath if we want to try and take down 2. And then this way we can still beat like a Vengeance. Got him. Cool. So yeah, nice little 7 winner. Let's get this deck pulled up here. It's a little 7. Welcome back to the party, 3 Aurelion Sol deck. Right. Uh-oh. Messed up my recording thing, I think. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this deck worked out fine. You know, anytime you take your deck to 7 wins, it did something right, right appropriately, if you will. But it's, again, not the way I typically like to piece these together. In general, the way I try to put this together is, you know, we want to stack up on as many 2-drops as we can, those being the Dragon Guard Lieutenant, the Egghead Researcher, and then the Herald of Dragons. And then after we fill in those 2-drops, we just kind of take whatever expensive dudes decide to show up. There's not a huge difference between playing the likes of White Flame Protector, the 4-drop, playing the 5-mana Spell Shield, playing things like the 7/7 or the 6/6 Scout, like any of the dragons that isn't either Shyvana, Aurelion Sol, or Screeching Dragon can kind of effectively be seen as the same card. And so if that's the way we're going to look at dragons, we don't really care which ones we pick up, but we do care that we get a big pile of 2-drops, because you can't let yourself run into these games to where, I think we maybe did it once, to where you don't play anything until like the 4th or the 5th turn. And so you're really trying to get these curves to where you play, you know, something on 2, something on 3. Maybe you have a combat trick, maybe you don't have a 4-drop, but you've, you know, interacted in the early game, so you weren't just like running into a board of 4 units and then you're just adding in your 1 Screeching Dragon. And so that's why I place that heavy focus on the early game plays, specifically those 2-drops that we called out. And then in kind of the same vein, I also like the cheaper combat tricks. And so I prefer to play things like Sharp Sight and Radiant Strike, or whatever the 1-mana one is called, opposed to playing things like Riposte or Prismatic Barrier or Back to Back. Because what you see so frequently is, you know, you don't play anything on turn 1. We have this gigantic pile of 2-drops, so we play something on 2. Then on turn 3, we play something on that costs 2, because again, we drafted this gigantic pile of 2-drops. And then on like turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, we're just wanting to play a dragon. And so, if we're getting into, say, turn 5 and we want to play um, a Screeching Dragon plus a combat trick, that trick has to cost either 1 or 2 mana. And so we're getting to these points to where even on like turn 7 or turn 8, we may not be able to play 2 cards if we're trying to play a combat trick as expensive as Riposte. And so typically when it comes to the dragons, like the 1 and the 2 mana ones are good enough anyways. It's usually like, your opponent has a 3/3 and you've hooked it with a Screeching Dragon, and then your opponent like gives it +2/+2 to make it a 5/5, and then you give it the +1/+1 to eventually win the combat. There's not too many times where you actually have to have these Ripostes to be a combat winner. And so they fit in that way as well. And so those are the big things. You want your units to be cheap. You want your spells to be cheap. You take your dragons as they come, except for Screeching Dragon. You will go out of your way to find 2 or 3 Screeching Dragons. And then after that, it's typically just a matter of finding removal spells. You tend to have to be pretty aggressive in picking them up. If you're heavily into Targon, Targon really only has access to Sunburst and it doesn't live in the Aurelion Sol pool. But if you're in like either of the Shyvanas, you should reasonably be able to pick up the likes of Concerted Strikes and Molten Breaths, Shyvana single combats and single combats. It's just, again, some of those are reasonably expensive. And so if you're trying to play a Molten Breath, you probably can't follow it up with any other units. So I do think that covers it, though. It was a little weird here. We didn't really get punished for not having this big pile of 2 drops. We did, get to edit our deck a little bit down to where the curve is more reasonable. If you're looking up here on the top right of the curve, we have the 10 2s, the 6 3s, the 4 4s, and then it spikes back up at the 5 drop slot. Kind of okay. We would rather that be, a little bit spikier on the 2s, a little bit spikier on the 3s, a little bit lower on the 5s, but we didn't really get hard punished for having our curve be a little bit too expensive, especially in a deck with multiple Aurelion Souls. But yeah, nice little trial. I think that will do it for us today. Can't tell if there's going to be a reward or not. Looks like, all right, we got the weekly vault coming in here as well. So if you're one of those reward lovers, you're getting something out of this. Probably not too much after today, though. We've finished the event pass, and so got all the rewards out of the Lab of Legends icons, and so until the new cards come out here in like 3 weeks, there's not going to be not going to be a whole lot of rewards turning up. Hey, welcome to the collection, Solari Sunforger. Too many extra copies of some of this other stuff. Oh, we got a Soothsayer. It always seems strange to me to see the common show up. I feel like we should just have everything. Like, I know I have a big old pile of dust that can craft everything, but I feel like we should just have it all. haven't spent any actual money to get cards, but we should still have all the cards, right? Yay. All the shards. Bring them in. Got to get up to 300,000. We're only, I think it was at like 220 the last time I peeped at the count. So, no champions. A little sad. Get the 2 expedition tokens because we need those. All right, yeah, not a bad little trial. Oh man, look at this. Is there a way to spend? How much would that be? Like 38 dust, 28 dust, so that we have like two dust. it's like the Mitch Hedberg joke. I'll butcher the delivery, but it's I wish my phone number was just all 2s, and then someone asks you what your phone number is, and you say, I don't know, man. You just press 2 a lot. You'll get it there when you press the right number of 2s. That's how it looks with all the 2s on there. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. So I hope you all learned how to pick up the dragons a little bit better. Maybe you learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.